Hello folks. In this video I wanted to talk about how you can actually use so-called logic and reasoning and make stupid statements and weird statements and absurd statements. There's this popular idea that you are what you eat. This is a metaphor of sorts, and it is to convey that you eat good food, it is good for you and stuff like that. You drink good stuff and whatnot, whatever your diet and whatnot, you are what you eat, right? But then let's say you expand this and extrapolate this to the idea of, say, cannibals, for example, and then say you are what you eat. Okay, great. So if you wanna become thin, then just eat thin people. This is stupid and weird, right? So you can't become thin by just eating thin people, or you can't become rich by eating rich people, or you can't become wealthy by eating wealthy people, or you can't become muscular or have six packs by eating muscular people or people with six packs. So you can't just apply logic and reasoning just like that, and without context especially, and just with so-called logic and reasoning you can easily make stupid weird statements. And of course I spoke about analogies before recently also. You can look at my previous videos. There's one about analogy, a very recent one. I made it before say a week or so ago. So yeah, I mean, you can use analogies and sometimes the so-called logic and reasoning and make stupid weird statements, absurd statements. One has to be very careful about, like, how you understand the statement and how you understand the conclusion. You are what you eat is one thing, but then saying that just eat, say, thin people to become thin or whatever. This is just of course a very interesting example that anyone can find out that this is wrong, or assuming they're not cannibals, they'll find that this is wrong. Or not interested in cannibalism, like they're not interested in cannibalism or psychopathic stuff and whatever. And they're not psychopaths or sociopaths or whatever, right? I don't know what's a sociopath. I'm sorry I used that term. I sometimes use terms. I'm sorry I used that term. I don't know what sociopath is, but I know what is a psychopath. So yeah, don't use terms that you don't know. Learn from me. I sometimes do it and I make a mistake. Learn from my mistakes. Always learn from my mistakes. Yeah, I mean, you can easily make statements, wrong statements. So always understand the final statement that someone is making and analyze that, and don't look at the proving mechanism or the logic and reasoning just as it is, and analyze more and understand, instead of like just like believing blindly, because it's easy to make wrong statements. So I wanted to give a very false statement to make this clear, because it's easy to prove something is wrong. You just need one false thing. It's hard to prove something is right. You need many, or like you need a generic proof. This is true in math and science. You need generic proof, general proof, to say that something is general and true for all cases, and not just some specific cases. And if it is true only for some specific cases, then prove with that and say that this is true only for these conditions and cases. To prove a statement is wrong, especially a general statement, you just need one specific example and you can just prove it wrong. And this is true from math, science, so it's easy to do that. So that's what I just try to do. Don't just believe with blindness, and don't just believe blindly that with so-called logic and reasoning some statement. Analyze, research, and please use your brains and discuss with people before working on stuff. Don't be like me, just blindly believing statements. Especially sometimes I believe stuff that Google Gemini AI says and stuff like that. Research more, have more sources of truth, more sources of data to analyze your statements that you hear and whatnot. Question a lot, be curious, be inquisitive. It will help you in the long term. Yeah.